jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kundgiri Govardhan ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Navdeep Dham ki jai, Jagannath Puri ki jai, Ganga Mayi ki jai, Jamana Mayi ki jai, Tulsi Devi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. And thank you and welcome to all the devotees who have assembled this evening. So we will be continuing the second Canto lecture series by His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami Maharaj, broadcasting live from ISKCON of New Jersey in Towaco. And today's verse will be Canto 2, Chapter 1, verse number 11. If you'd like to follow along. We've also pasted it in the chat box so you can read along over there. And if you have any questions or comments, then during the interaction time, feel free to participate. You can raise your hand using the raise hand feature, or you can type your question or comment in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself. But if you raise your hand, it'll be easier so we can give you the chance in the order that it's received. So thank you once again, and thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Shaminiti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtatya Deshatarane. Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindho Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Shadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you all for coming. Obeisances to Purushartha Prabhu and any other God brothers or God sisters who may be with us. My respects to all the devotees. We're continuing with the second chapter of the first chapter of the second canto. We've heard that of all the different methods of devotional service, the hearing is very important. Hearing, chanting, remembering. Jiva Goswami says these are the kings of the different methods of devotional service. So now we're hearing, or Sukadeva Goswami will speak about the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. It's a headline verse, very important verse. Etan nirvidyamana nam ichchatam akuto bhayam yoginam nirnitam harer nam anukirtanam. O king, Nripa, nirnitam, it's decided, it's settled. Nirnitam, how does Prabhupada gloss it? Decided truth. This is definitive. That you've asked what should one hear about, what should one chant about, what should one remember, what should one do. This is decided that one should hear about, what should chant the holy names of the Lord. One may be nirvidyamana, completely free from material desires, or ichchata, full of desires, or akutobhaya, yoginam, One may be self-satisfied by practicing the yoga system. Whatever one's position, full of desires, elsewhere we hear, what is that? A kama sarva kamo va moksha kamo dharati. Tivrena bhakti yogena yujeta purusham param. Whether one is free from all desires or full of desires or desiring liberation, one should engage very seriously, tivrena, with great force, in the devotional service of the Lord. Kama sarva kama va moksha kama udarati. If one has finer intelligence, this is what one should do. So here, Harer Nam, the holy name of Krishna, Hari, not any name, Hari Nam. Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nam eva kevalam. The chanting of the holy name of Krishna. Anukirtana. Prabhupada, there are two meanings of anu. There may be more than two, but Prabhupada points out two generally. Anu means constant, and anu means following. And in Prabhupada's translation, he includes both meanings. Constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord after the ways of the great authorities. So anu kirtanam, not just haphazard kirtan, any which way kirtan, this kirtan, that kirtan, but Hare Nam anu kirtanam, kirtan following in the footsteps of the great authorities, and as a constant engagement, not now and then, but this is our business, to glorify Krishna. So Hare Nam Anukirtana. Yes. And this is Akutobhaya, the doubtless and fearless way of advancement. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada particularly discusses the offenses in chanting the holy name. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, it said, Hare Nam Kore Aparadhir Vichar, Krishna Balile Aparadhir Na Hoy Vikar. The holy name of the Lord, in the chanting of the holy name, there's consideration of offenses. There are offenses to be considered. So one doesn't become ecstatic just by chanting Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada said that there's quantity chanting and there's quality chanting. When asked what is quality in chanting, Prabhupada said, avoiding the 10 offenses. Therefore, at initiation, this is the subject matter. To Srila Prabhupada would speak or have someone speak on these 10 offenses against the holy name. If one chants, elsewhere in Bhagavatam, again in second canto, it said that if one chants, but there's not transformation in the heart, then it means that the heart is steel framed. Again, that means that the chanting is not free from offenses. Srila Prabhupada explains that there are 3 stages of chanting. The first stage is offensive, the second is clearing stage, and the third is offenseless chanting. It's at the stage of offenseless chanting that one can truly get the full benefit of the holy name of the Lord. Even offenseless chanting will help us Because if we go on chanting sincerely, even though we may have offenses, this is what Jiva Goswami says. If we chant offensively, what can we do? He says, go on chanting constantly. Not that my chanting is so offensive, I might as well just give up. But we should go on chanting, and try to avoid these offenses. So what are these offenses? The first is sadhu ninda, satam ninda, namna padamam aparadam vitanute. The sadhu ninda means to blaspheme the devotees or to hear blasphemy of the devotees. That's, I think Prabhupada mentions that here. To vilify the great devotees. Vilification of Vaishnavas is not at all helpful. So one should avoid that very seriously. Sadhu Ninda can destroy everything. All of these offenses, each one could be a lecture series, but we'll cover them in outline. The second offense is to see the holy names of the Lord in terms of worldly distinction. If one tries to separate the holy name from the Lord from his holy name or his transcendental form and qualities and pastimes, thinking them material, that is offensive. Shivasya Shri Vishnur Yaiha Guna Namadi Sakalam. Diya Bindam. It's interesting. Sometimes we hear this as being to think that the Lord and the demigods are on the same level. That means Shivasya Shri Vishnu, the Lord Shiva or Vishnu, to think that they're on the same level. Or to think that Lord Shiva is separate from Vishnu. But here in Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Prabhupada glosses this, the holy name of Lord Vishnu is all auspicious. So it's Shiva Shri Vishnu Nam. The all Shiva means auspicious. So to diya bindam pashet, to see some difference between the Lord's name and form and qualities and pastimes and the Lord himself is an offense to the Lord. I think in this purport, and also Jiva Goswami makes the point that we hear about the holy name, we hear the holy name, hear and chant the holy name, then the form of the Lord comes to mind, the qualities, the pastimes, everything is realized progressively by faithful chanting of the holy name of Krishna. Then, yes. And the holy names are as powerful as the Lord, so there's no bar for anyone in any part of the creation to chant and glorify the Lord by the particular name of the Lord as it is locally understood. They are all auspicious, and one should not distinguish such names of the Lord as material commodities. There's not we shouldn't see the Lord's name according to some material calculation. Material calculation means Maya. Maya means, one meaning of Maya is to measure. The Lord is immeasurable. Aprameya. In the 11th chapter, Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna addresses the Lord, Aprameya. So the Lord's names are all immeasurable. Nijasarva Shakti, all Krishna's energies are there. So one shouldn't see in terms of dualities, introduce dualities into the absolute truth. The third offense is to neglect the instructions, the orders of the spiritual masters, Guru Avagya. then Shruti Shastra Nindanam, to blaspheme the Vedic literature. And that means Shruti Shastra Nindanam. Prabhupada always says the Vedas or the Puranas, the literature that follows the Vedas. Then Artavada, to consider the glories of the holy name to be imaginary, to think that, yes, we just imagine something, but it helps us. It's a spiritual process. We imagine that there's something. That won't help us. Then, Namno Bhalad Yasyahi Papa Puti. Prabhupada often said that this was the greatest offense. One can be liberated from all sins by chanting the holy name. One who takes advantage of this transcendental method and continues to commit sins on the expectation of neutralizing the effects by chanting the holy name is the greatest offender at the feet of the holy name. It's not that this is some facility for us that we can continue sinful activities and, I can get away with a certain amount because I'll chant Hare Krishna and that chanting will neutralize the effects. That's very deceitful and offensive. Then the eighth offense is Dharma Vrata Tyag Hutadi Sarva Shubha Kriya Samyam Api Pramada. To consider the holy name of this chanting equal to some material auspicious activity. Undoubtedly, the holy name is holy service, but he should never be utilized for such purposes. We should not try to bring the holy name into the service of mankind or for one's personal service. That's why we do these rituals. We do a yajna, we do some auspicious ceremony so that we can have prosperity, so that we can have good health, so that this, so that that, Shubha Kriya, so that things will be auspicious. That's why commonly people perform various rituals for the benefit of their family, for the benefit of their own, when they're in a jam, the business should not fail, my health should be recovered, my daughter should get married. So then we perform some religious ritualistic ceremony, maybe to counteract some bad planets. There's a bad planetary transit, so we do some ceremony. So one shouldn't think that chanting of Hare Krishna is another such ceremony. There was a meeting at the house of Raghunath Das Goswami's father and uncle, and there was some discussion among the Brahmins present regarding the benefits of chanting the holy name. And someone said that chanting of the holy name is so great that just chanting once is equal to performing 10,000 Ashwamedha yajnas, something like that. So Haridas Thakur happened to be present, and he said that this was an offense to the holy name. To consider the holy name, to compare the chanting of the holy name to any number of Ashwamedha yajnas or this yajna, that yajna, is an offense. The chanting is not one of the ritualistic activities recommended in the Vedic culture. Then Ashradhane vimukhe ashrinvati yas chopadesha shiva nama parada. Ashradhane, those who have no interest, no faith. Vimukhe, who are actually antagonistic. Ashrinvati, they don't want to hear. Ya cha upadesha, to instruct them about the holy name of the Lord will also be an offense. And Srila Prabhupada explains, such people should be given the chance to hear the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, but in the beginning, they should not be instructed about the glories or the spiritual significance of the holy name. They won't get it. They'll just, nah. But by constant hearing of the holy name, their hearts will be purified. Then they will be able to understand the transcendental position of the holy name. Prabhupada gave the example that he said, you go to the street corner with your kirtan party and someone is hearing your kirtan and he'll think, what this nonsense is doing. But you're going every day, and he's hearing every day. So he said, so finally he comes to the point that actually this is nice. Let me be nonsense like this also. So constant hearing, regular hearing. We just want to give people the chance to hear. And then as they become a little interested, how does this work? What is this actually about? Is there a philosophy? Could you tell me more? Then we're perfectly willing to give instructions. But in the beginning, chant and be happy, that's all. Just take this mantra. That's all. I mentioned before we have a website, mantrabreak.com. That's all that it does. It doesn't give any instructions. It just says here, this is such a good mantra. Just listen. Just listen. So that's indicated here. Then the 10th offense is to become uninterested in the holy name, even after hearing of the transcendental nature of the holy name. Conception, the effect of the chanting, is perceived by the chanter as liberation from the conception of false ego. False egoism is exhibited by thinking himself the enjoyer of the world and thinking everything in the world to be meant for one's own self only. The whole materialistic world is moving under such false egoism of I and mine, but the factual effect of chanting the holy name is to become free from such misconceptions. The offense is given. Shrutepi nama mahatmye, in spite of hearing the glories of the holy name, ya priti rahito naraha, if one is devoid of priti, affection, or yes, affection of the holy, for the holy name, it's not attracted to the holy name. Aham mamadi paramo, he's more concerned with aham mama, with I'm this body and everything belonging to this body is mine. Janasya mohoyam mahamameti kamo papoga parama. So sa api aparada krit. He's an offender to the holy name. Therefore, this point again and again that I'm not this body, and that nothing is mine. And the more I become free from this bodily conception of life, the more I'll appreciate the chanting of Hare Krishna. And one who does not show respect and love for the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, instead thinking, I'm this body, everything in relationship to this body is mine, that's an offense. Those are the 10. There's a question from Tulsi Priya, a reference about this definition of Maya as measure. If anyone happens to find one, that's good. I didn't look it up, I just remember hearing it. One meaning of Maya.
Monier Sanskrit dictionary has a similar, where the word ma means to measure, and it's derived as a derivative from that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I've heard in the Sanskrit dictionary.
Okay, that's in fact.
Please, if I recall correctly, there's some connection there.
I'm sure there is. Let's see. Get down to the Sanskrit dictionary. Get past the South American Mayas. Okay. Yes, first definition of Maya in the Monier-Williams dictionary is measuring.
Yeah, that's what I meant, yeah.
And second is creating illusions. Yes. Yes.
Oh, there's your reference. I guess the dictionary is the ultimate.
Excuse me?
The dictionary would be the ultimate reference, right, of the meaning of a word in terms of references.
Dictionary is a good reference, yes. I don't know if I'd say it's ultimate, but it's certainly a go-to source. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It seems like such a rich vein to mine. The idea of measuring, it makes me think of science. It makes me think of people comparing themselves, who's better than me? Am I better than, it's just, or comparing ourselves to Krishna, measuring ourselves. It just seems very, like there's a lot you could pull out of that in relation to Krishna consciousness.
What's in it for me? Calculation.
Always wanting to increase or comparing ourselves to others.
And especially if we measure Krishna, that Indra was calculating that he's just a talkative boy. He's thinking that he could measure Krishna by some material calculation, or to measure the holy name of the Lord in some material way. So these are all, yeah, as you said, it's a rich vein. You can get into the whole idea of measuring. Aprameya, Krishna's immeasurable. Now let's see. There's quite a number of questions here or points here. Samarpana Gopa. Whether all these principles apply to other aspects of the absolute truth, Nam Rupa Guna Lila, especially about Lila, whether these principles, 10 offenses, apply to that, as Lila is also non-different from the Lord himself. Well, yes, since you say that everything has a connection, or that the Lord is absolute, no difference between his name and his form. So from that point of view, it's an offense to Krishna to disobey the orders of the spiritual master, to vilify the Vaishnavas, to have a material conception of the Lord. So this is an offense against Krishna, and Krishna means with his form, his qualities, his pastimes, everything. We don't usually hear that spoken. Usually these are referred to as 10 offenses in regard to chanting, but you wouldn't be far off. Yavananda asks, the fourth offense is to blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature in pursuance of the Vedic version. Do these literatures and pursuance include the Bible, Quran, Torah, etc.? Well, there's a good question for you. It's interesting. My first answer would be yes, that to to belittle or demean literature that's leading people toward faith in God is not at all good. One time, yes. So sometimes that's there. They're also literature in pursuance of the Vedic version. But sometimes it's not seen that way. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when talking with Chankaji, he said, your scripture is full of mistakes. He said that to him directly. One time, we were doing an ad in Back to Godhead, or putting together an ad for Back to Godhead for Prabhupada's books. And we used to send Prabhupada these ads and ask if they were okay. So we conceived of one ad. We had these books lined up, a Bible, a Quran, and we got, this was in the days of the old Macmillan Bhagavad Gita as it is, which wasn't so beautifully bound. So we got a copy specially bound really, really nicely. So we had these books lined up, and the caption said, "What if one book said it all?" Probably given the example that these different scriptures are like dictionaries. There's the Pocket Dictionary, then there's the Third International or the Oxford English Dictionary full. So we had this conception where we ran that caption, "What if one book said it all?" So then the ad was shown to Srila Prabhupada, and his response was, "What is our book doing with those books?" So he didn't always see things in terms of, yes, all these books are on the same level. But sometimes he would give credit that these books are teaching about God and faith in God. So take it as you will. Any other comments about that, by the way? Or is that all right, Yomanand?
So thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj.
I have to keep something in mind that I'm not keeping in mind anyway. So Srila Prabhupada, would depend how he was looking at things. But first of all, in general, literature in pursuance of the Vedic version especially means the Puranas and the Itihasas, because you get these, like what are those people? Arya Samaj and so on. It's only the Vedas. We only accept the Vedas. We don't accept the Puranas. The Vedas, the Upanishads, not the Puranas, not the Smriti, only the Shruti. So that's particularly targeted. In the Chandogya Upanishad, it's said that the Puranas are the fifth Veda. So in the Vedas, Chandogya Upanishad, it said the Puranas are also Vedic literature. So one shouldn't minimize the Puranas, and especially Jiva Goswami says that the Srimad Bhagavatam is more important than the Vedas for us. Veda Vadarata Partha Nanyadastiti Vadana Kamatmana Svargapara Kamatmana Svargapara. Then I've forgotten. Anyway, the meaning is that Trigunya Vishaya Veda, the subject matter of the Vedas, is mostly the three modes of nature, how to be elevated, materially speaking, perform sacrifices and become prosperous or go to heaven. And so many of these things are in the Vedas. So So for us, the Srimad Bhagavatam Nigama kalpatur or galitam palam. It's the ripe fruit of the tree of Vedic knowledge. So what will people understand from the Vedas anyway? We have Trivedi, Chaturvedi, but they haven't read, and even they're near Vedi. They don't even know what's in one Veda, which it's too much. It's, huge amount of stuff in there. And to find your way through it, it's like finding your way through the branches of this upside down banyan tree. The leaves are the Vedic hymns. So therefore the sages asked, please tell us the essence. Puri Burini Karmani. What is that? Shrotavyani Vibhagasha. Tasadhotra Yat Saram. Samudritya Manisha. Bruhi Bhajani Bhutanam. Yenatmas Suprasis. To benefit people, please tell us the essence of all these things. There are too many things to read. This is Kali Yuga, and we're not going to be able to sit down and go through the whole library of books and books and then sit and have discourses and figure it. Just please give us the essence of everything. In a made easy way, Prabhupada said. Please give the essence. So appreciating from another side, there are different literature, and Prabhupada says this, there's different literature given by in different traditions all over the world to preach the glories of God. And they're all giving something about God's greatness, God's supremacy, God's qualities, our relationship with God. None of them will say, stay in this material world and just enjoy your senses. They'll all point to this same goal of being connected with God, serving God. So they can be all respected and honored, but even there are different Puranas also and other literature pointing to this same goal. But Srimad Bhagavatam is the ripe fruit of the tree of knowledge. Therefore, Kimva Parayarisha, what do we need any other book for? If we just have Srimad Bhagavatam, we're set. Bhagavati says that Sadananda, Prabhupada's godbrother, spoke that measurable universe phrase. And Gopal Hari is here. He says ma actually comes from the root ma, to make or create, like a mother. And thank you for that. How does that connect then to Gopal Hari?
Sorry.
Two phones at once, two devices at once.
Sorry, Mahat. I was just commenting that ma to measure was a derivation that Shankaracharya sort of popularized because he wanted to say that Maya is measuring the immeasurable, and Maya is unreal, and so. But actually, both our acharyas and even academic scholars today agree that the original meaning of the word Maya and the root ma was to create like a mother creates. Mm-hmm. And it was elusive, but there was nothing unreal about it. And this whole concept of measuring the immeasurable really was his sort of contribution. It was his original idea. Maya is not sort of measuring, trying to measure God, or the way that he presented it, that it's just a way of trying to estimate Brahman, that Maya is actually unreal in of itself, and all personality is unreal. So I just thought I'd mention that since we were talking about the word Ma.
Thank you. It's interesting how these definitions get started. But I heard Prabhupada mention it. I guess he picked it up from the same source. But it's interesting. Thank you. Sushma says, says, and in a recent BTG article, this Maya derivation was mentioned, was measured. A question related to current topic, okay, in regard to Bhagavatam 627. Okay, Ajamil has already atoned for all his sinful actions. Indeed, he has atoned not only for sins performed in one life, but those performed in millions of lives. For in a helpless condition, he chanted the holy name of Narayan. Even though he did not chant purely, he chanted without offense. Let's see. And therefore, he is now pure and eligible for liberation.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes.
Question is, in the same purport, it further says that, it's a verse mentioned from Brihad Vishnu Purana. It says, simply by chanting the holy name of Hari, a sinful man can counteract the reactions to more sins than he is able to commit. So my question is, you said that it is, Sripad Haridas Ji, Haridas Thakur, did not appreciate it when it was compared with the Ashwamedha Yagya. But here, when we say that the Harinam is able to counteract all the sins, so when we say like this in Bhagavatam as a verse, is also comparison like that, or it's a different? How should I, balance these two?
This is one of the qualities of the holy name, that in fact, it's there in Chaitanya Charitamrita, I think just after the section I was reading, that Ek Nam, but just by one name of Krishna, once chanting purely. Yeah, here it is. Ek Krishna Name Kore Sarva Papa Nash Premier Karan Bhakti Karen Prakash. This is the holy name. It vanquishes all sins, and it brings about pure love for Krishna. So that's because it's not different from Krishna himself. So this is different from the Ashwamedha Yagya is actually not meant for getting free from sins with the idea of reviving our eternal relationship with Krishna. It's just, let me be pious. There's two things. There's
Yes, I understood now.
right.
Yes, it's clear now. Yes, yes.
So I want to be pious because then I can really enjoy.
Yes. Now I understood. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Gurudas, regarding the ninth offense, it seems like the preacher always walks a thin line according to Desh Kalapatra, time, place, and circumstance, as to how much to say to a passerby who stops, momentarily attracted to the kirtan. As preachers, it seems like a natural next step to explain. This is a transcendental sound vibration. These are names of the Supreme Lord, who is non-different from his name, etc. Are persons who want to go beyond saying, this is a nice mantra, be happy and listen, approaching offense. An interested person often asks, what are you chanting? What does it mean? Is it some kind of religion? That means he's interested. The offense is ashradhane, to preach to someone who has no faith. Prabhupada sometimes translated shraddha as interest. Shraddhana Purusha, he gave a lecture on that verse. Translating shraddha as interest. A person comes to the temple, or a person reads your book. Why? He has a little interest. That amounts to faith. May not be wholehearted faith, it may not be absolute faith, it may not be full faith or mature faith, but at least he has enough faith to say, hey, what's this all about anyway? If he's not being challenging, what's this all about anyway? If he's interested, what is this about? That means faith. He's not an antagonistic person. He's not vimukhe, turning his face away from Krishna. He's a little interested. So when someone shows a little interest, we can reciprocate. And we take our cues from Srila Prabhupada. One thing is Prabhupada sometimes said that this is the offense that we risk. We're willing to take a risk to preach the glories of the name broadly so that people can take advantage. But we're a little cautious at the same time, and we follow our acharyas. Hare Nam Anukirtanam. The way Srila Prabhupada explained things, we can explain things confidently the same way. He produced that record album. He gave something about the holy name. He didn't go into deep detail about the nature of the Supreme Lord, his pastimes, his qualities, his flute, but little something about the transcendental sound vibration. So what Srila Prabhupada said, we can say. And when someone shows some interest, then we give more, we give more. Is that okay? Then Gurudas says, before the pandemic, I was fortunate to participate regularly on Harinam. I guess my question is, where does the neophyte draw the line to not say, this is Krishna's holy name? He is actually in his name, or non-different from his name. This name connects the chanter directly to Krishna in the spiritual world. We say such things. That this is a transcendent, it springs from the spiritual platform. These things we can say, but we won't go into esoteric detail or deep detail. As I said, we follow what our acharyas have been willing to share with the public. Is that okay?
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you, Gurudas Prabhu.
Maharaj, I have a question. Can I ask?
Yes, Prem Sindhu Prabhu.
So the second offense is to disobey the instructions of the spiritual master. Does that mean the initiating spiritual master and also the instructing spiritual master, or is it only the initiating spiritual master?
Good question. In the section I was reading from Adi Leela, which is Adi 8:24, it was glossed as spiritual masters. Let me see if I find it. It's either there or right in this purport, because I was reading both today. Let's see. Guru Avagya. No, it must be in today's purport itself. Let's see. Or it could be in the next verse, because Prabhupada's going to actually return to these offenses in the coming verse. But let's see if it's here. I think it may be here itself. That's which number offense? 5?
The third offense.
Third. The third offense is to neglect the orders of the authorized acharyas or spiritual masters. So that, I think, directly answers your questions. It's not just our own immediate initiating spiritual master, but the acharyas or yes, certainly. Elsewhere in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Diksha Guru and Shiksha Guru are considered equal and identical manifestations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it's not that I can, as long as I don't neglect the orders of my Diksha Guru, the orders of the Shiksha Guru can be neglected, then what does it mean that they're my Shiksha gurus anyway? But Shiksha Guru, and Prabhupada explains someplace that in a letter to Kirtanananda Swami, or maybe to someone connected with Kirtanananda Swami, that Shiksha Guru means one who supports the instructions of the Diksha Guru. There's not a distinction there. Krishna himself is the Guru, and he appears in these different forms as the Chaitya Guru, the Guru in the heart, as the Diksha Guru, as the Siksha Guru. It's all Krishna appearing in these different forms. So Krishna is not to be disrespected. Therefore, the Prabhupada glosses it here, the acharyas who've given us knowledge.
So then, as a follow-up question, like Srila Prabhupada is the instructing guru for everybody in ISKCON. We say like that Srila Prabhupada is the Shiksha Guru. And he gives so many instructions in his books, what we should do, like rising early, chanting 16 rounds, following the 4 regulative principles, eating only prasadam. So there are so many instructions given. So does it mean that we are committing this offense, third offense, if we are not following those instructions?
Yeah, these instructions are not given for nothing. They're not given for nothing. So one thing I was thinking earlier, when I was thinking about this purport, is after reading these 10 offenses, I was thinking, well, there we are. There we are. It's here. This is our position. Who among us can say that, well, I'm glad I don't commit those offenses. They're so, what should we say? I wouldn't say they're so broad, but for us, they seem so broad. We're all criminals down here. We're averse to the service of Godhead. We're reluctant. We have this tendency to vilify Vaishnavas, to neglect the Guru's instructions, to give our own interpretations of what the holy name is about, to think that, well, yeah, okay, the sadhus are just trying to get us chants, so they're sort of hyping the holy name. We have all of these things going on, and therefore we're all offenders to the holy name. Maybe there's some people who escape this. I don't want to, but at least I can say that for me, reading these offenses, it's like, oh my goodness, it's like, I've got a long way to go. When we think about these things. So you say all these instructions in Prabhupada's books. Well, some of them, of course, Prabhupada would say that this doesn't matter. He would consider it some small and not very important technicality. But there are points there that Prabhupada's giving as fundamental, that he's giving again and again. They're instructions coming from Shastra. So these are they're not to be just read and set aside. They're to be taken, that Krishna is instructing me. The acharyas are instructing me. Srila Prabhupada is instructing me. Not that these are just sort of idle, but it's just sort of idle stuff for us to read and decide as we get on with our life. That's neglecting the orders of the spiritual master, minimizing or neglecting the instructions of the spiritual master. So we shouldn't do that. We should take it very seriously. just as we hear that the Bhagavatam is to be heard with rapt attention. So the books are meant to be read with the idea of self-improvement, that we recognize our shortcomings and we want to do better. This also depends on Krishna's mercy. It's not by my, again, considering, my goodness, how deep in we are, it requires mercy from Krishna. And therefore we call out to Krishna, like, oh Krishna, oh energy of Krishna, please engage me. Please purify my heart. Please engage me in your service. I'm so deeply entrenched in Maya. Vishame Bhavambuddha. I'm trapped in this ocean of birth and death. Kripaya Tavapada Pankaja. Stitatuli Sadrisham. Please, by your causeless mercy, lift me up. So that's chanting. Chanting's not just mechanical, or it's not just great music, but it's a sincere call, Prabhupada said, cry to the Lord and his energy to be engaged in service. Is that okay?
Yes, thank you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, this is Naveen Krishnadas. I have a question.
Okay.
Thank you very much. This is from Columbus. Maharaj, this is an extension of the same discussion about the second offense, not following the instructions of spiritual master. At the time of initiation, disciple takes the vow of the 4 regulative principles. So in that regulative principle has 2 parts, the gross and subtle. So in general, when disciple takes is no meat eating, no intoxicants, most of them are related to the gross. But when we take that vow, is also applicable to subtle offenses. In that case, and then from that moment onwards, I don't know about others, but in general, most of the disciples will not following the instructions of spiritual master. How does that work?
I think my understanding was that Srila Prabhupada basically meant, don't do these 4 things. Don't take intoxicants, don't have illicit sex, don't eat meat, fish, or eggs, don't gamble. Now, if in my mind, sometimes I think, gee, I really miss garlic or something. It's not the end of the world. Or if I sometimes think I used to like to eat this or that, or I used to like, so that's also not good. We'd like the mind to be pure. We'd like the mind to be cooperative. We'd like the mind to be Krishna conscious. But there's a difference between just having a mind that's a no-goodnik, a vagabond, a badmash, having that kind of mind and breaking these rules. My mind may be whatever kind of damn rascal it is, but I promise my spiritual master that I'm going to follow these rules, so I'm going to follow. No, whatever the mind says. The mind may say this, it may say that, it may say, don't you remember, wouldn't you like to? It's not such a big thing, it doesn't matter much. Anyway, you can't help it, blah, 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 blah. The mind may say whatever it wants to say, but I promise my spiritual master I'm going to follow these 4 rules. And therefore, the mind can go to hell. I'm going to follow them. That's the point. Is that okay?
So, I mean, so that means disciple, as long as they're trying to avoid subtle offenses, it's not.
Yeah, even in Bhagavatam, it's said that in previous ages, even if you thought about sinful activities, you got the consequences. In this age, you have to do them for there to be consequence. So, of course, we know from thinking, you have to be careful, because from thinking, then the next thing is doing.
Yeah.
So we should avoid even thinking about these things. Just like they have in New York City, sometimes somebody got a smart campaign. Don't even think about parking here. Right? So don't even think about breaking these 4 principles. But if we think about it, all right, I thought about it, and the hell with it. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to follow what I promised. That's the point. Is that all right?
Yeah. So as long as you're trying, that means you're not considered as not breaking the instructions of spiritual master.
Yes, not that we just try. We do. We follow these things. No gambling, no meat eating, no illicit sex, no intoxicants. These are the 4 rules, and we should strictly follow them. But if there's something subtle in the mind, well, we know the mind is a damn rascal. So that also should be controlled. Not that we just let the mind go free because, well, it's only in the mind. But these are the rules. I will not do these things. That's the vow.
Thank you.
Okay, there's more coming up on the chat box, but we have reached our limit. I wanted to make one comment. We talked about doing a Vanaprastha seminar on Thursday evenings. I think we'll start perhaps a week from Thursday, because I want to get my logistics together, proper account for doing these things, and then let everybody know when it will be and how to get there. So I think I won't jump in tomorrow, but in a week we can start. That would be my proposal, if that's okay with all. All right. And I hand the baton back to Madan Gopal Prabhu.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. So those of you who were here last night for His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj's lecture, so we couldn't get through to him. And so we find out why, unfortunately. So he's not feeling so well, and he's actually been hospitalized. So we request your kind prayers and your well wishes for Maharaj's quick recovery. And unfortunately, it is the COVID-19 virus that he's been tested positive for. So, even yesterday morning, he had some fever, and he told Nilmani Prabhu that, no, it's okay. I'll still give the class. It's not a big deal. But then he was hospitalized after that, and they tested him, and it is COVID positive. So please keep him in your prayers, and send good wishes to Maharaj, and we hope that he recovers very, very quickly and he's back in action again. I just wanted to make that announcement, and we can probably end there, unless Nilmani Prabhu, you have anything further to say?
No, I just again thank His Holiness Jayadvaita Maharaj, and you already said, so let us all just pray for Bhakti Charu Swami that his health recovers. I felt very guilty today that, in his condition, that I even asked him, and I wrote to him and kind of apologized for doing that, but he's just so gracious that he actually wrote to me and apologized for not informing us that he wasn't going to be able to make class yesterday. So as Jayadvaita Maharaj said, just the perfect gentleman, and so gracious and so responsive and caring. So our prayers are with Bhakti Charu Maharaj. Jai, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. And thank you all the devotees who have joined us this evening. And we look forward to seeing you every evening. We have these classes 8 p.m. on all the days. And on Saturday morning, we have His Holiness Sachinanda Swami at 11 a.m. And Sunday at 6 p.m. So please keep joining us, and please keep His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj in your prayers and your heart. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Jai. I will.